Okay, I need to talk about something that's been bothering me ever since Stranger Things Season 4 dropped, and I would say it's a rather important matter. Last time I checked, 1.5 million people cared enough to hear what I had to say the first time I talked about it, and that was 3 years ago. Now that Season 4 is out and it broke every single release record Netflix has ever had, I feel like it's as good a time as ever to bring it up again. And even though the Duffer Brothers gave us the final pieces to the puzzle, it just still feels like we're missing a few pieces. That's right, we're going to be looking at just how Hopper actually survived his death in Season 3. We literally laid out every possible way he could have survived, and the way they explain it is like none of them. And even at this point, I still feel like they're hiding something from us that we haven't seen yet. If you're new to the channel, welcome! This is the place to watch all the Stranger Things videos your heart desires. I've got another video coming out soon that you're not going to want to miss, so make sure you're subscribed with post notifications on, so you're not the only one who's not here when it drops. I love starting conversations with these videos and making theories and hearing what you guys have to say about them in the comments. You guys have a lot of good theories on your own too. And if you're the one person who didn't know this, if you go down to the comments and they're disabled, it wasn't me. YouTube has been automatically turning off my comment section, completely taking away our space to talk with each other. I've been trying to get someone at YouTube to do something about it for 3 years now, but until they do, which honestly might be never, we've been hanging out and talking in the Discord. We literally have a Stranger Things channel to talk about everything Stranger Things and to meet other fans and make new friends. I'll put a link in the description. Come check it out and say hi after the video. You guys have actually been really blowing it up recently, so thank you so much for your support. Now, I don't know if you remember, I mean, how could you not, but final episode, Hop is stuck on the other side of the giant portal death gun thingy, and Joyce has to decide to either save the world and kill Hop or try to figure out a way to save him while the Mind Flare puppet possibly kills all of her children. This was the most lose-lose scenario that I've ever seen, but thankfully Hop gave Joyce a little nod, letting her know it's okay to shut down the portal even if it means killing him, so that she can save her kids and honestly the rest of the entire world. Not knowing what else to do, Joyce closes her eyes and shuts off the portal, and just at that moment, the Duffer Brothers close our eyes too, turning the screen black for a second. And then boom! The gun absolutely implodes and starts ripping itself apart from the inside and ends in a massive electrical explosion, sending out a shockwave that literally disintegrates everyone who was standing in the room. Joyce was fine because she was in the control room with the protective glass, but anyone else in the near vicinity when it exploded was Thanos snapped away and turned to dust. After everything settles and the smoke clears, it sets in and Joyce realizes that she's just killed Hopper. Murray runs up and grabs her and they escape the Russian lab and make it back up to the surface safely. But then what we saw next sparked everything else that followed. After the credits started to roll, we got a short post-credit scene in Kamchatka, Russia. Chamkatka. Post-credit scene in Chamkatka, Russia, where 2 Russian guards make their way to a cell where they refer to the prisoner inside as the American, leading us all to believe that Hopper actually survived somehow. And then 6 months later, the Duffer Brothers release a small teaser actually showing the first footage of Hopper alive and not so well in Russia. This made my mind race. So many theories, but how did Hop actually survive that blast? It turned everyone else to dust. That means that he must have escaped the room somehow in that split second where it was blacked out, or made his way to the portal and jumped in. I mean, it's better than getting evaporated, right? So we went into elaborate detail and laid out every possible way that Hopper could have survived, and we even found a tiny detail that literally let us know it was possible for him to survive. You can't really notice it when you're watching it in full speed with tears in your eyes, but if you slow down the footage, zoom in, and wipe away the tears, you can actually see that after our eyes were opened after the blackout, Hopper is not standing on the other side of the portal death gun where we saw him last. Where did he go? It seems so deliberate now. They closed our eyes for a reason. Hopper found some sort of way out. He must have. And what's that? Is that a ladder? That's where Hop was standing. What if he slid down the ladder to a lower level and ran out the door a split second before the explosion happened? Of course, he could have also used it to run down and jump inside the portal too, maybe, if there were no doors. I mean, once Joyce closes it, he'd be stuck in there until someone reopens it though, and Will barely lasted a week in the Upside Down, so there's no chance Hopper could survive 3 months. That is, unless the Russians can open it just to capture him or something, but still, down the ladder and out the door makes total sense. And you know the option they went with? He fell down to a ledge? Are you serious? From sliding down the ladder and leaving the room to jumping through the portal only for the Russians to find him later, merely jumping down to the ledge is probably the most disappointing anticlimactic cop-out choice they could have gone with. And not to mention, they didn't even try to explain how he survived the evaporation blast that took out all the Russians. Even Murray was convinced that he got evaporated.
You saw him die, Joyce.
I didn't see a body.
Because he evaporated.
But apparently not, and he didn't even get superpowers out of it. And what are you supposed to do without powers? Well, personally, I just recently became an official Lord. Thanks to the sponsor of today's video, I am now officially Lord Michael J. Established Titles is a really cool project that's based on the historic Scottish custom of referring to landowners as lords or ladies. And with Father's Day right around the corner, I couldn't think of a better gift. They essentially let you buy 1 square foot of dedicated land for yourself or whoever you'd like, turning them into an official Lord or lady, all while helping preserve the beautiful woodlands of Scotland. And they help global reforestation efforts by planting a tree with every order. The title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. And yes, your certificate does have your unique plot number on it, so you can see the exact location of your plot of land. And once you officially are a landowner in Scotland, you can then change your name to Lord or Lady and put it on your credit card and plane tickets and even flex it on your dating profiles. And right now, Established Titles is running a massive Father's Day sale, and you can use the code MichaelJ at checkout to get an additional 10% off your purchase. So go to establishedtitles.com/MichaelJ to get your gifts now and help support the channel. Now, like I was saying, Hop with no powers. What's that you say? You didn't know about the Hopper superpowers theory where the blast blows him into some chemicals Flash style and he gets support powers that help 11 regain her powers, and then they piggyback off each other father and daughter style to fight the Mind Flayer or Vecna together as a team? Oh, weird. Well, I made a video on that too if you want to watch it. It's actually a really fun theory that happens in a different multiverse, because in this one it just looks like Hop didn't get any powers and didn't get evaporated either. He may have gotten a concussion from the fall and some brain damage from the Russians torturing him, which I guess is still better than getting evaporated, but still no powers. But that's fine. I just want to sit down and figure out how Hopper actually survived the blast, and I just haven't been able to wrap my head around it since we watched it together. And since the last video had 1 million people interested, I've been waiting 3 years to do a follow-up, and it's finally here. I just can't believe the explanation that they went with. I mean, they kind of did the same thing with Brenner's death in season 1. They left it open-ended on purpose, not showing a body so they could bring him back, but this is the exact same thing. In season 1, we saw a Demogorgon eat him and thought, oh well, he got what he deserved, I guess he's dead. And then in season 2, they literally told us that Brenner is still alive.
Papa is gone.
No, he is alive.
And then now, in season 4, they just brought him back with a scar and never explained what happened. I mean, there's always a chance that we'll get a proper explanation in volume 2, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I love that he's back and with an awesome scar and all, but I want to see how he got that scar. Did a guard save him and shoot the Demogorgon off of him? Did he fight it off himself? I actually asked Matthew Modine on Twitter, the actor that plays Brenner, just because I was so curious, and this was his response. Insect repellent? Are you kidding me? Honestly, I think that might even be better. If Brenner got attacked and then whipped out some insect repellent and pepper spray and just hosed the Demogorgon down until he ran off, that would be pretty funny. And until we get a scene showing us otherwise what happened, this is now canon in my mind of how he actually survived. But also, I think Matthew Modine talking about this scene means we're not going to get any more of it, so he doesn't have to worry about spoiling anything. So from now on, every time I see Brenner, I'm going to know that he carries a small can of insect repellent on him. But like I was saying, I don't know if they didn't have time to flesh out or explore any of the other options, but I can't help feel like with Hopper's death too, that they just kind of did the bare minimum here. Even the flashback of him running and jumping is so hard to see what's actually happening, it almost makes me think that they're going to explain more later. But I just feel like unless there's another big finale-sized reveal that happened because of the blast, they're not going to circle back to that moment anymore. It felt like they just said, yeah, well, he jumped and landed Black Widow style on the grating below, and that's how he survived. Now, move on. But I don't want to move on. If everyone else evaporated in the room, why didn't he? Was it supposed to be some logistical thing, like the shockwave only went out horizontally and Hop wasn't affected because he fell downwards 2 stories? Because I don't know if you remember, but the Russians that we saw get evaporated were also 1 level below the portal death gun. And when we saw the shockwave hit them, it was a bunch of vertical lightning that didn't care how far down they were in the room. I just don't get how it didn't hit Hopper. I mean, even with the footage that they gave us, in that split second, you can see Hop gets engulfed by the explosion. Like, how does he survive that one? So many things are not adding up to the point where it feels like they should have a big reveal for the showdown that the shockwave actually did hit Hopper when he jumped, or it barely touched him but affected him differently since he was falling midair, or something that festers inside Hopper and eventually reveals that Hopper has powers. Remember all that green juice that Dustin and Erica found? Not only does that stuff look straight out of a comic book as something that gives the superhero their powers, but it's also the fuel that lets the portal gun operate high enough to rip open a portal through time and space to this other dimension. If he was exposed to some of this stuff during his fight on the bridge with the Terminator, or was affected by a bolt of lightning that went through that stuff first, they'd have no problem saying that Hop had some kind of powers. I know they can just leave it as he fell down and hurt his knee on the ledge, but I was kind of hoping for more. Did anyone else feel the same way, or was this just me? I guess it's not too important part of the story unless they want it to be, which, I mean, if they gave him powers, it definitely would be, but they could totally just leave it as he survived because of plot armor. Why did he not get disintegrated? Plot armor.
I myself don't even like that one.
It's just, if someone gets exploded in the room, I feel like the other people should be too. It would have been cool to see Hop run to the ladder, slide down it, and find a door to escape through, all while the screen was black, and then boom, it explodes. And the hopping in the portal would have saved him from the blast too. It's just, how is he gonna get out of the portal? That becomes the next issue. Once it's closed, it's closed. The only thing that can open it back up at this point is Eleven with her powers, which she doesn't have anymore, and the portal death gun that just exploded. I mean, I guess Vecna could also open gates if he kills someone near Hopper, but for the most part, I think Hopper would be out of luck and stuck in the Upside Down for God knows how long. I know Hop's a survivor, but the Upside Down is a brutal place. I don't even think he could last a month in there. The first time he was in there, he almost died within minutes. Joyce and Bob had to come find him and save him. I think this was before he got plot armor though, because honestly, this should have killed him more than that. After all was said and done, he wakes back up on the ground and then somehow didn't break enough bones to not be able to climb all the way back up the ladder, basically crawling up the ladder. He reaches the top and starts crawling away from the ledge, only for the Russians to walk over, and boom, he's captured. I also have a hard time believing that Joyce wouldn't have gone running out looking for him after the explosion. I feel like after the first 2 seasons of Joyce being a crazy mom running around the town chopping holes in her walls, she's just not the type of person to sit around and run from something like this. Granted, Murray came out eventually and dragged her back to the surface, but I feel like the Joyce we know would have ran over to that ledge and looked over and saw Hop laying there half dead 20 feet down. I could just be overthinking it, but after the 3-year wait and one of the biggest film twists we've had in years, I think I was just a little disappointed in how they went about explaining things. Best case scenario, it gets brought up in the finale and Hop gets powers to fight Vecna with 11, but honestly, I don't see a fat chance of that happening anytime soon. Nonetheless, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. There's only 2 episodes left for them to release, but instead of 1 hour each, combined, they're 4 hours long. So it's as if they're releasing 4 standard hour-long episodes worth of content, which I know they could fit a lot inside of. Let me know what you think of this theory and how Hop survived. I'll have another video out soon, but until then, I will see you on the Discord. Peace.